So Genesis 3:21, he says he made Adam and Eve garments of skins and clothed them. Now, there's this fancy word called atonement.
Yeah.
But atonement just means covering. So what they did with the fig leaves is they tried to provide their own atonement for their sin. And God says, look, that's not good enough. You need my atonement, my covering. This is why we wear clothes today. It's a picture of the atonement that we need to cover ourselves. So then he gives them the sheep clothes, basically, showing that it is from this sacrifice that you will be properly atoned for. Yeah. Okay, so I do believe that at this point they have fully bought into the plan of redemption.
Yeah.
I do think so. Now, you say that probably isn't enough proof on its own. And that's why we're going to keep going. Right? So, yeah.
Sounds good.
I agree that maybe it's a little bit of a stretch. Okay, but then we come to chapter 4, verse 1.
Okay.
Okay, this is getting good here. All right. So then what does it say? It says, now Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gotten a man with the help of the Lord. Now, what's interesting about this passage, if you dig into the original language, all those words aren't accounted for. There's a few extras to smooth out the translation.
Okay.
Now, that's not a crazy idea. That happens all the time.
Sure.
You're transferring different languages. You want to smooth it out for understanding. What would happen here is if you were to read it literally, it would read like this. Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gotten a man, the Lord. So she's renaming. I've gotten a man, he is the Lord, is the idea.
Gotcha. Now,
and that word there is Yahweh. She's saying, I have gotten a man, Yahweh. Here he is, the one that was promised. Okay. The offspring. Here he is. He's going to take care of it. Now, see, Eve knew that there would be an offspring from her line, at least, right? But she was thinking of herself.
And knew it would be the Lord.
Why would she think that it would happen thousands of years later? Like, why would she think that, you know?
Yeah, why not? Just like so many prophets, they had it right, but with the wrong time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so she would say, oh, look, here he is. Now, of course, Cain didn't pan out.
No.
You know, murdering his brother.
In fact, Cain was not not model citizen.
And so, you know, they end up looking at Seth. That's why he's called the appointed one. Because he was in place of. They're thinking, oh, maybe it's Seth. And so the whole time through the Old Testament, they're thinking, well, here's a path, here's a path, here's a path. Maybe it's this one, maybe it's that one. And so then the path gets narrowed down. It goes to Abraham, then Isaac, then Jacob, Judah. It goes down to David and Solomon. Right, all these different things. It's really interesting how it keeps narrowing down. But anyways, there it is. That's the whole gospel. Because there you have, it has to be a man, has to be God, has to be a blood sacrifice. All these things in an atonement for their sins.
All right, so let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Did God save the same way in the Old Testament as he does in the New Testament?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It never changed because all it is faith in the final sacrifice. You can say it that way. Yeah. That keeps it more simple because they may not have necessarily called him the Messiah yet.
Yeah, that's right.
But they knew that, what does the Messiah mean? The anointed one or chosen one.
Yeah.
So they did believe there was one chosen to do this.
And there would be an ultimate sacrifice coming. That would take away the sins permanently. So
as Revelation continued, it wasn't a different message. It was just a more clear message.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah. Things cleared up the closer they got.
Right. Until finally, like you said, John the Baptist, behold the Lamb. Here he is.
And then they still missed it.
Yes. Well,
not all of them, obviously.
Absolutely. But, I know what you mean,
there were a few that were paying attention. So, all right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up.
That's the gospel in a nutshell.
Gospel in a nutshell. Obviously, there's a lot of details we can go through, flesh out, pan out.
Definitely.
Sift through.
We will one day.
We will one day. That's year 5 or 6 probably. So we'll be down the road a little while. All right, so that is episode 3, wrapping up here.